We're back out here once again, and today we're talking about some of the craziest color combinations you've ever seen, especially for clear water, and why they work so well in the early fall. Plus, today I saw one of the most amazing things I think I've ever seen when out bass fishing, and what it taught me and what it means. Stick around, you don't want to miss this one. Got him. That's a good one. Come here, you. Here is this video's featured comment. Congratulations! If you would like to have a chance to have your comment featured in an upcoming video, all you've got to do is leave a comment. And now, on with the video. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing, and today was one of those crazy zany days out on the big lake. They happen from time to time, you know. The water was really choppy, it was really windy, plus there was a whole bunch of boat traffic. There was a lot of pleasure boaters, there was a lot of fishing pressure. And I was fortunate enough today to meet a subscriber to the channel, and although I never got your name, it was great to meet you, great to talk with you. And if you ever see me out there on the big lake, don't hesitate to say hi. I love talking to you guys. It's great to meet you and hear what you think about the channel. But today was kind of one of those really strange days. Now, I had an idea that I knew it was going to be kind of one of those windy days like we've been talking about. So I knew it was going to be kind of a grind. So whenever it's a day like that, well, a lot of times I really have to dig deep into my bag of tricks. And on a clear water fishery, that can be especially challenging, especially on a heavily pressured clear water fishery like we have in the big lake. So here recently, I've been switching things up quite a bit and using some, shall we say, non-standard colors, right? We all know match the hatch. When you see what those bass are feeding on, you want to match that as close as you possibly can. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, there is another trait about bass that we need to learn how to take advantage of, and that is their curiosity. And guys like Steve Rogers have pointed this out before when he showed underwater footage of bass curiosity. And I know for myself, having experienced it many times through the years, bass are very curious creatures, which is why they will bite a pink trickworm. I mean, how many things underwater look like a bubblegum trickworm, right? But yet fish get caught on it all the time. It's an amazing bait. I use them all the time myself. So what does that mean? Well, it means that bass are instinctively very curious under the right conditions. And that is if they feel comfortable, if they feel like they're not pressured or threatened by whatever it is they want to get a closer look at. Because as soon as it makes them unsettled, as soon as it changes their mind, well, they're gone in a shot and you're going to have a hard time getting them back. But what I did is I tied on this guy right here. And this is a Quake Crush. It's black with some blue accents. It's the smaller size. It's the 50. And I've got this on my standard casting setup. My 6-4-1 bait cast rod. This is my 7-foot medium heavy with the moderate fast tip. This is my, it's got the micro guides on it. This is the one that's got the micro guides on it. This is actually a new rod. I just replaced the other one, which was exactly the same thing. But this is my normal cranking setup. You guys know this. You guys have seen me use this many times. However, this right here is not a color that you would think I would throw on a clear fishery in the middle of the day whenever there's quite a bit of sun. Granted, there was some wave action, but still, there was still quite a bit of sun out, and there was no hiding this. It was clear water. The fish were going to see it. And that was kind of what I was hoping for. See, underwater, bass have shadows and shade too. And this plays on that. This is kind of like the shadow that, creeps across the back of your eyes that you have to turn around. You have to see, what was that? Where did it come from? That's kind of what I was hoping to do with this today. I was trying to take advantage of that darker profile, how it would stand out under the water. I was cranking it erratically. I was moving it erratically. I was trying to do everything that I could to make the bait a mystery to those bass, right? So I was hoping I would elicit their curiosity, that they would have to come and they would have to get a closer look. And bass, well, they don't have fingers like we do. They explore their world with their mouth. That's exactly what they do. That's why they inhale things. They don't like it, they'll spit it out. Well, unfortunately for them, this has got hooks on it. So whenever they inhale one of these, chances are it's going to be there. So I was able to catch some nice bass with this today, using that tactic, using the bass's curiosity to my advantage. I was able to catch some really nice fish. Boop, boop. And even just a little bit of gunk on your bill can cause it to act funny. So be mindful of that. It can make it track one way or the other, or it can make big wide circles. It can really just got him. That's a good one. Come here, you. You're not getting off. You're not getting off. Come here. You're not getting off. He hit it pretty good. Ooh, dang it. Now you got it all in my shirt, dummy. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. You're a feisty little thing. He got my shirt, and he got the hook. I'm going to have to cut that out. Alright, this little 1 pound bass that I keep having trouble with. I hope I got the fish catch on camera, but anyway, there he is. Got him on the little black square bow, which is currently lodged in my chest. In my shirt, I got to cut it free. So, thank you, little buddy. All right, let's go get another one. Now, another thing, you guys have seen me thrown is probably the ugliest bait that I own. This old Smithwick Rattling Rogue, what we colloquially call the cat turd. I mean, it's brown, it's black. It's got this, copper and orange. It's all over the place, and none of those colors are good, right? But yet, this thing has caught more fish for me than all but one of my jerk baits, and that being the H2O Express. That, if you follow the channel, you're familiar with that thing. But this thing right here, this ugly thing, I've had for years, and I cannot tell you how many fish this thing has caught. Now, why is that? Well, again, curiosity. But rather than staying in the shadows and playing with the dark to get those fish curious, this comes out, shiny and sparkly and gets their curiosity that way. So on a cloudier day, this right here is going to stand out like a sore thumb. It pretty much looks like a sore thumb. This thing is ugly. But like I said, fish are just attracted to this, and it's because of their curiosity, not because it resembles anything that they want to eat. It doesn't resemble a shad, it doesn't resemble a shiner, and it certainly doesn't resemble any type of sunfish. So why do bass attack this? It is because of their curiosity. They've got an innate curiosity to explore the world around them. And a lot of times it can get them into some serious trouble, whether it's biting a black crankbait or whether it's biting this ugly jerkbait, or, as I found out today, whether it's biting off more than they can chew. See, as I was coming back from the northern part of the lake, I was fishing shallow, I was pitching around some heavy vegetation, seeing what was going on in there and not really having, much success. So I decided I was going to come back and work along those migration routes we talked about before. And on my way back to the south to find a really particularly good migration route, I saw something bobbing in the water in the distance. And first I thought it was a plastic water bottle. So I was like, okay, well, let me get over there and pull that out of the water. But the closer I got, the more I noticed that it was moving, that it was thrashing and twitching. And when I finally got right up onto it, I saw it was a bass. It was a largemouth bass that was bobbing in the water. But not just any largemouth bass. It was a big girl. And here's the amazing part. This is the part that blew my mind. Is in its mouth was probably the biggest shellcracker that I had ever seen. There was a red ear sunfish lodged in this thing's mouth. I mean, it was bigger than my hand. Now, granted, this bass was 3.5, 4 pounds. It was somewhere in that vicinity, so it was a pretty big fish. However, that shellcracker was way too much. That thing was, just too big of a meal. And I pulled it out. I was able to work that shellcracker free, and it was still alive. It was fine. I dropped it in the water, and it swam away, completely unharmed. The bass, however, well, it was done. I tried my best to revive it. I tried to put it in the water, but it was just done and it ended up dying. I really wish that it had survived. But, you know, that is a simple case, or actually, that is a very explicit case of biting off more than you can chew. And again, that goes back to bass behavior. Now, what could that bass have really accomplished by trying to eat that sunfish? That sunfish was way too big. So that bass had to be curious about that. That bass was inspecting it. Now, of course, they're always thinking with their stomach. They're always trying to get a meal. But seeing that bass trying to inhale that shellcracker and paying the price, you know, really was an eye-opening experience for me, because that right there is bass behavior and bass curiosity on display. Now, the funny part was that shellcracker was head first. So that means that the bass wasn't chasing it. That bass came at it head on. If it was chasing it, then you would think that the tail would have gone down first. So I have to assume that that was just a spur of the moment. They were probably close to each other, and that bass decided it just wanted to, you know, take a taste. However, the shellcracker survived and the bass didn't. But it teaches us that bass are curious, and also that they're feeding on sunfish. I mean, there was some gold and copper colors in that shellcracker, which, you know, I guess could be sort of similar to this, but I honestly don't think so. I just think that they attacked this out of sheer curiosity. They want to know what it is. But just like that bass went after that big shellcracker. Like I said, it blew my mind. That has got to be the craziest thing that I've ever seen. But, you know, it really makes you think. So if you learn how to use bass's curiosity, you can really get some strange bites. You can get those bass to commit when they ordinarily wouldn't commit. Even when they're not hungry, you can get those bass to inspect your bait. But like I said, you've got to make sure that you do it the right way and that they're in the right mindset. Because if you try to beat them over the head with it, they're just going to shut off and they're going to run away. You've got to bring them in to you. And that takes a little bit of subtlety with your lures, right? Or it just takes an action, something that they're going to be intrigued by. And you have to, you know, kind of work with what you have, kind of change your retrieve, change your, you know, alter your retrieve, alter how you're working your bait until you get that response. And once you figure that out, you can do it over and over again without any problem. So don't forget, one of the biggest things about bass behavior that we can take advantage of on any body of water, and this goes for largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass, Guadalupe bass, you know, any type of bass that you can think of, shoal bass, they're curious. Take advantage of that curiosity and watch how many more fish you can catch, especially on those tough days. So there you have it. Digging deep into my bag of tricks, I was able to capitalize on those bass's innate curiosity and eke out some good bites on an otherwise very hard day of fishing. Now, sometimes you got to play with it a little bit, but for me, I find out that darker color crankbaits work, darker colored worms, you know, black, blue flake, jet black, and those sorts of baits, even in clear water with a little bit of overcast, you can have great results. Or if you learn how to use just a subtle bit of flash, you know, not a whole lot, but just a little subtle bit of flash. And those things can really pay dividends as you can draw those bass in using their own curiosity against them. Give it a try. I think you'll really like the results. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.